Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings, and welcome all new Earthlings to the channel. Well, curiouser and curiouser, it would seem that Skid Row is getting very, very skiddy and is skidding down the hill fast for Meghan and Harry. Things are unravelling. See, it starts slowly and it builds momentum. And a friend of mine used to say, because we've all met these sort of people before in our lives. You know, there are some people who just shit on people on their way up, and the famous expression is, be careful who you shit on the way up, you might meet them on the way down. Well, my friend used to say, you can shit on 100 people, it's the 101, the wrong one, that's going to bring you down. And it would seem that the little stunt the other night has, to say the least, irritated not only Backgrid. I love their response. But it was only a few weeks ago that I was saying to you guys that I was interested in getting into the mindset of the PR of Markle. This is the PR persona, how she wants to project herself to the world. And it appeared to me that Page 6 was the go-to publication to see the world through her PR's eyes. Well, not anymore. Not anymore. Not as of this morning. Wow. There are several scathing articles in Page 6 this morning that I see. One of which is particularly scathing, that calls Harry and Meghan a pair of cheapskates and that they brought the whole mess on themselves. Link is in the description if you want to read it. So I don't know if she was paying for the PR for Page 6, because they definitely have always, they were the ones that got the source that there'd been letters between her and Charles, you know, way before anybody else. And it obviously, I don't think, was King Charles ringing up Page 6. I bet he's never even heard of it, and I bet his people have never even heard of it. So that's where I cottoned on. That was a bit of a slip up on her part, or her staff's part, that I suddenly realised that they were ringing up Page 6, and Page 6 were getting the scoops and the inside deals. Well, their source this time, they say, is inside law enforcement. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. It says that they were too mean to pay for a hotel. They also refer to her head of security, is it Chris Sanchez? This guy was the head of the Secret Service for Barack Obama. And his nickname apparently is the King of the Back Exit. So a lot of people who know him are like, what the hell went wrong there? There's also other sources in the article saying Harry and Meghan wanted to be up front central, have their pictures taken, and that Harry's face went from a smile to a sudden scowl. It's an interesting read from a PR point of view. Now, anyone who's new to my channel, my major beefs with Meghan and Harry are the suppression of freedom of speech. Harry openly not only works with the Aspen Institute, that has said that he doesn't like the First Amendment in America. He thinks it's bonkers. And there has been active suppression here on YouTube to silence people's free speech. For me, that's a big thing. You cannot... Okay, it's one thing having PR to make a celebrity look better. That can be quite harmless, and why not? You know, they're tender creatures, aren't they? And they love to have their PR. But when it steps over into using people like Christopher Boozy to stomp all over people's right to opinion, to free speech, to share ideas, we're entering a whole other territory. And that, for me, is always been a big no-no. And in our personal lives, because one or two people have asked who are new to the channel, we have had a couple of narcissists that we have had to deal with in our own family personal life. So when I started observing Markle from the engagement interview really forward, it was striking how many similarities between her behaviour and our personal narcissists that we know in our own private life, the similarities were just striking. So those are the two things. That's really where I came into it. Wasn't that active until Christopher Boozy started bolshing it about and taking YouTubers down and trying to silence people's free speech, because we actually had that with our own narcissists years ago. We used to do exactly really what the Megxit community here have been doing with Meghan and Harry, analysing, questioning, checking facts, does this tie up with that, etc., which is very inconvenient to narcissists and liars. They don't like people examining the facts, the timeline, the order in which things happened. They don't like that at all. And our narcissists didn't like it. And we used to do it on another social media platform where the audience could engage and equally question what the hell was going on. And this was years ago, and they made a big do and ran around the community saying we were smearing them on social media, which we were not. And they actually made the bold claim that I own a website called facebook.com. There is actually mine. Now, unfortunately, I'm going back 12 years now. There were one or two elderly people in the community who were not internet savvy at that stage, and they believed these narcissists. And these narcissists went through Facebook finding, I don't know, sadomasochistic sexual sites and all sorts of pages. As you know, Facebook is global. Everybody knows that now. And they said to these elderly people who had influence and power in the community, Fiona owns facebook.com. Look what Fiona's allowing on facebook.com. And the elderly people believed them, and we got a ton of shit for it. And we were kind of shut down, like Christopher Boozy tries to shut people down. So, I mean, again, for me, it's all worlds colliding, and I'm seeing things that I have suffered in my own personal life happening on the world stage. But it would appear that a lot of the people who've been protecting them and helping them are now not so friendly. They have shit on the 101th person. And I find that quite amusing. And I will enjoy watching her downfall. I will very much enjoy it. The lies that have damaged her family, the royal family, a string of dead bodies of ex-friends, people who have been dumped, used and dumped. I enjoy that, and I find it also equally delicious that our two narcissistic psychopaths subscribe and watch this channel in silent horror. As I've said many times in the past, if you don't want to be thought a twat, don't do twatty things when you think no one's looking, because one day it might be brought out into the light for everybody to see. I mean, PR also interests me on a smaller scale, because, as a lot of you know, I work at the Dolphin Safari. We have a boat, we take it out, we look at wild dolphins. On the whole, 99% of the time we find them, but there are certain times of the year when they're more difficult to find. And of course, we have a TripAdvisor page. Sometimes with the queue in Gibraltar, the people are late, they miss the trip, they have to go on the next trip. We have to juggle passengers. We're dealing with human beings. And from the day I started at Dolphin Safari, both my bosses said to me, the best way to deal with difficult customer service situations is honesty. Honesty is the best policy. Talk to the people. Explain exactly what's going on. Never lie to them. And so that's how we do it. We have to see the poor passenger's point of view, and also we're dealing with a boat, wild animals, nature, the elements. We also have our challenges at the Gibraltar border, and over the years I've worked there, if I explain to the people the exact difficulty, you know, we didn't find dolphins on the last trip, they've been out a little longer, your trip's going to go a bit later, or, you know, you just be honest with them. I've never had a problem. Now, of course, every company gets bad TripAdvisor reviews. But rather than try and have them deleted and silence them, what we like to do is we read them. If they're genuine, some of them are false, you know, written by other people for other reasons, but the majority of them are genuine. And then we answer the question and we use it as an opportunity to explain to future visitors, these are some of the challenges that we face. So when you're thinking of booking, bear all of this in mind. And we get a lot of people who book with us, as opposed to anyone else in the area, on the basis of the fact that they've read our bad reviews and they've said to us, we saw your reply and we understand and we took that. So we turn it into ticket sales. Markle and her PR people, they seem to be incapable of turning a negative into a positive. In fact, they're very good at turning positives into negatives. What the hell was that stunt all about the other night? So it fascinates me from that point of view. I've never seen such terrible PR. And because she's had so many different PR agencies, I can only draw the conclusion as there's a common denominator. It's her. She can't behave herself. She doesn't know. She's so unself-aware. It's like she's in another universe. She sees the world in a completely different way. I'm convinced she has the Disney music going around her head all the time, you know, la 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 la. She's not with reality at all. It's got to be her. That she hires PR people and then she tells them, oh, I know how to do it best. So go and have a read of this page 6. And I think we're going to see an awful lot more of this. I'd also like to mention that the Daily Mail and the Sun, I have checked this morning, are not really, they're not really interested in this story. I think they've been bitten. I think they've done 1 or 2 articles, but you got to dig to find them. Well, you have here in Spain. I think they've just been bitten and thought, well, you know, F you. We're not interested. Every time we print a word, whether it's nice or bad, we get attacked. And good for them. I don't blame them. And also, I can't remember where I read it, and I can't find it now, but I promise you, I read that one of their friends had spoken out on their behalf. And, oh boy, this really struck me. The friend said, it's ridiculous that the taxpayers won't pay for their security. That would be UK taxpayers, American taxpayers, I presume Australian taxpayers, wherever they choose to plonk their bums. The friend said it's ludicrous because, and get this, they're not just any old common house and garden A-lister. They're way above the A-listers in Hollywood. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Sense of self-importance. Sense of grandiose. Oh my goodness. Well, if any of you can find out, I think it might have been in the Daily Mail actually. It could have been in Newsweek. I honestly can't remember. I can't remember, but I find this unfolding situation fascinating. And I find it equally fascinating that their lawyers would demand Backgrid hand over all videos and photos. And I wonder why. I wonder why, because at least one witness allegedly said that one of Harry and Meghan's vehicles was driving on the wrong side of the road. Could it be that Backgrid have video evidence of Harry and Meghan's team breaking the law the other night, and that is why they want all the footage from Backgrid? Well, Backgrid, who were their buddies and chums, I think we can all see there's been a big falling out there, and I think she might well have bitten off more than she can chew in this instance. And I'm loving it, actually. I really am. I'm loving it. It's long overdue and about time too. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and as always, I look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions.